Hello everyone, my name is Anishka Gautam, research scholar from the Department of Applied Economics, University of Lucknow. I welcome you all in another episode of the Economic Talks. Today we have a discussion going on the topic agricultural progress under 5-year plans in India. The idea of planning as a process of rebuilding the economy gained prominence in the year 1940s to 50s. Various businessmen came together in 1944 and drafted a joint proposal for setting up a planned economy in India. It is famously known as the Bombay Plan. Planning for development was seen as a crucial choice for the country following independence. Joseph Stalin was the first person to implement the 5-year plan in the Soviet Union in the year 1928. India launched a series of 5-year plans after independence to build its economy and attain development. The idea of 5-year plans is simple. The government of India prepares a document with all its income and expenditure for the year. For 5 years, the budget of the central government and all the state governments is divided into two plans, non-planned expenditure and planned expenditure. The budget of the central government and all the state governments is divided into two parts, planned budget and non-planned budget. The non-planned budget is spent on routine items yearly. The planned budget is spent on a 5-year basis as per the priorities fixed by the plan. The model of the Indian economies was premised on the concept of planning based on 5-year plans from 1951 to 2017. The 5-year plans were formulated, implemented, and regulated by a body known as Planning Commission. The Planning Commission was replaced by a think tank named NITI Ayog in the year 2015. NITI Ayog comes out with three documents: three-year action agenda, 7-year medium-term strategy paper, and 15-year vision document. Now, Rishika will tell us about the initial plans of India.
So, starting with the first 5-year plan, time period of which was from 1951 to 1956. The first 5-year plan was introduced by our first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, in the Parliament of India. The first plan was based on Harrod-Domer model. It is an economy model to explain economy's growth rate in terms of level of saving and of capital. Objective of the first 5-year plan was to develop the agriculture sector that was worsened after the partition of the nation. Budget of rupees 2378 crore was allocated to 7 broad areas including irrigation and energy, agriculture and community development, rehabilitation to landless farmers and so on. Nearby 12 lakh acre of land were reclaimed and brought under irrigation. Increase in farm output helped the country to end the inflation and economy was stabilized. The target growth rate in first 5-year plan was 2.1%, but the actual growth was 3.6%. Hence, the first plan was completely successful. So, talking about the second 5-year plan, time period of which was from 1956 to 1961. Second 5-year plan was based on PC Mahanlobis model that explains shift in the pattern of industrial disinvestment towards building a capacity in the production of capital goods. Main focus of the second 5-year plan was on development of public sector and rapid industrialization. Poor fulfillment of first 5-year plan made the planners think that the food problem was solved, hence they devoted a relatively less outlay for agriculture. That is 20% of the public outlay as compared to 33% in the first plan. Second plan was the period of rising prices. The country faced many foreign exchange crises. The target growth rate of second 5-year plan was 4.50%, but the actual growth was only 4.2%. Hence, the second plan was moderately successful. So, starting with the third 5-year plan, time period of which was from 1961 to 1966. The third 5-year plan was based on John Sandy and Sukhmoy Chakrabarti model, whose main motive was self-sufficiency in food grains and development of agriculture. But the several wars like India-Pakistan war and India-China war within the time period leads the weakness in the economy and priority was shifted to price stabilization. A severe drought occurred in the time period, which is from 1965 to 66, also worsened the situation. The plan aimed to increase national income by 30% and agriculture production by 30% as well. The target growth rate in third 5-year plan was 5.6%, but the actual growth was only 2.4%. Hence, the plan was completely unsuccessful. So, due to the various wars fought between the countries, led the economy to weakening and the government was forced to declare the plan holidays from 1966 to 1969. Over to you, Mani.
Next, we have the fourth five-year plan that took place between 1969 to 1974. It was introduced under the Prime Ministership of Mrs. Indira Gandhi. It attempted to correct the previous year failures. It was based on the Gargill formula, it was evolved in 1969 to determine the allocation of central assistance for state plan in India. It was adopted for distribution of fourth and fifth five-year plan. Green Revolution took place during this period. It boosted agriculture. The agricultural objectives to provide necessary conditions for a sustained increase of about 5% per annum, to enable large section of rural population, including small cultivators, farmers in dry areas and agricultural laborers, to participate in development and share its benefits. The budget allocation for the fourth five-year plan was the Planning Commission spent 14.7% of the total outlay of the plan, that is about 2,320 crores spent on agriculture and elite programs. The projected growth rate was 5.6%, but the actual growth rate was 3.3%. Hence, it was a failure. The reason for its failure was the strategies taken to implement during this plan were unrealistic. The fifth five-year plan took place between 1974 to 1978. It focused on the increasing employment and poverty alleviation, Garibi Hatao. The Minimum Need Program, MNP, was introduced in 1974 to provide basic minimum needs. Minimum Need Program (MNP) was introduced in 1974 to provide basic minimum needs, that is, primary education, drinking water, and basic medical facilities. This was prepared by D. P. Dhar. Original approach was given by C. Subramanian. Agricultural objectives of the fifth five-year plan: intensification of new technologies, systematic evaluation of ground level water resources, increase in food grain yield of about 3% per annum during this period. The budget allocation. The Planning Commission allocated about 2,130 crores on agriculture and elite programs. The projected growth rate was 4.4%, and the expected growth rate was 4.4%, and the actual growth rate was 4.8%, and hence it was a success. The reason for its success was the economy grew at an annual rate of about 6%, inflation rate was under control, and the balance of payment position improved. Then came the rolling plan in 1978 to 1980. In 1978, the newly elected Morarji Desai government, Janata Party, rejected earlier plan, and so came the rolling plan. It was called the period of instability. Rolling plan is a plan in which effectiveness of the plan is evaluated annually. Agricultural objectives of the rolling plan: to strengthen linkages between research and extension, and added support to provide for developing infrastructure for transfer of technologies in National Institute of Rural Development and Central Research Institute. The target for production of the food grain is 133 million tons for the annual plan 1978 to 1980. Next is the sixth five-year plan that took place between 1980 to 1985. During the sixth five-year plan, NABARD was established under the recommendation of Shiv Raman Committee. Comprehensive rural development started during this period. Agricultural objectives of sixth five-year plan: to consider both immediate as well as long term of agricultural commodities, both for domestic and export. Highest priority would be given to bridging gap between actual and potential farm yields. Budget allocation: Planning Commission spent about 5.8% of the total outlay of the program, about 5,695 crores spent on agriculture and elite activities. The projected growth rate was 5.2%, but the actual growth rate was 5.4%. Hence, it was a success. The reason for its success was the beginning of the economic liberation in India. Next, now over to you, Ima.
The next we have 7 5-year plan which was for the duration from 1985 to 1990 under the leadership of Rajiv Gandhi. The main objective of this plan was accelerating the food grain production and raising productivity with a focus on food work and productivity. The major program which were adopted during this period was Special Rice Production Program for Grain-Fed Agriculture and National Oilseeds Development Projects, etc. The target growth rate was 5.0% and actually achieved 6.01%, which was caused by various factors such as adoption of modern farming techniques, effective implementation of agricultural programs and schemes. The main goal of this plan was to make agriculture better by 4% increase in production every year. They planned to spend around 39,770 crores on agriculture, which was 22% of the total amount of money they planned to spend on this. The average level of annual production of food grain during this plan was around 155 million tons. It also involved increase in wheat production to 2,244 kg hectare, while sugarcane reached over 240 million tons. The production of cereal reached to the level of 34.76 million tons, and the pulses and oilseeds peaked to the level of 18.46 million tons. Next, we have annual plan. The eighth five-year plan was not introduced in 1990, for which two annual plans. The next we have annual plan. The eighth five-year plan was not introduced in 1990, for which two annual programs were made from the year 1990 to 1991 and 1991 to 1992. As this was largely because of the economic instability and also India faced a crisis for foreign exchange reserve during that period. Liberalization, privatization, and globalization was also introduced to solve various problems in the economy during the period of the Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao. The eighth five-year plan was for the duration from 1992 to 1997 under the leadership of P.V. Narasimha Rao. The main objective of this plan was modernization of industries. It involves rapid economic growth. The target growth rate was 5.6% and actually achieved 6.8%, caused by various factors such as high growth of agriculture and allied sector, improvement in trade, and growth in export and import. The agriculture and the allied sector targeted growth rate was 3.5% and actually achieved 3.9%. This plan also introduced several schemes such as midday meal or Indra Mahila schemes, etc. The main objective of this plan was self-sufficiency in food grain production and diversification of agriculture to generate export surplus. This plan emphasizes on increase in food grain production to 2,100 lakh tons and 2,750 lakh tons of sugarcane and 140 lakh bales of cotton and 95 lakh bales of jute. Next, we have ninth five-year plan, which was for the duration from 1997 to 2002 under the leadership of Atal Bihari Vajpayee. This was the period where India has just marked 50 years of its independence. This plan was focused on agricultural and rural development with the view of generating adequate productive employment and eradication of poverty. This plan target is to achieve growth rate of 4.5% per annum. This plan target is to achieve growth rate of about 4.5% per annum in agriculture output and production of 234 million tons of food grain by 2001 to 2002. The target growth rate was 6.5% and actually achieved 5.40%, which are caused by various factors such as environmental conditions or technological limitations, etc. The agriculture and allied sector targeted growth rate was 3.9% and actually achieved 2.7%. This plan emphasizes on development of allied sectors such as dairy, fisheries, livestock, etc. The total food grain production has also increased from 192.3 million tons to 199.0 million tons. Now over to Kirti.
10th five-year plan. Its duration was from 2002 to 2007 under the leadership of Atal Bihari Vajpayee and Dr. Manmohan Singh. The plan aimed to double the per capita income of India in the next 10 years. It also aimed to reduce the poverty up to 5% by 2007. Its growth target was 8.0%, but it achieved only 7.6%. This plan would aim at increasing the productivity through improved inputs like better irrigation, high seed replacement, increased fertilizers consumption, and better credit facilities. In 10th plan for agriculture sector to enhance the level of productivity, food grain production to 178.50 lakh tons, cereals to 139.54 lakh tons, and oil seeds to 60.40 lakh tons, and pulses to 38.96 lakh tons by the end of the 10th plan. Horticultural activities will be encouraged in the 10th plan as income generating measures. Now we talk about the 11th 5-year plan. Its duration was from 2007 to 2012 under the leadership of Dr. Manmohan Singh. It was prepared by C. Rajan. Its main theme was rapid and more inclusive growth. Its growth target was 9%, but it achieved only 8%. Skill development and education were given the priority during the 11th 5-year plan. This plan would aim to achieve 5% growth rate in agriculture sector. This plan aimed at increasing productivity through inputs like more irrigation in rain-fed areas, improved seed with increased seed replacement rate, and increased and balanced use of fertilizers. This plan encourages the organic farming. A special program for participation of women in agriculture is being launched. The budget allocation for agriculture was 1,859.63 crore and for horticulture rupees 320.20 crore. Now we talk about the 12th 5-year plan. Its duration was from 2012 to 2017 under the leadership of Dr. Manmohan Singh. Its main theme was faster, more inclusive and sustainable growth. Its growth target was 8%. Focus on the agriculture sector and have an average growth of 4% during the plan period. The budget allocation for agriculture was 8 lakh crore. This plan aimed to develop a holistic water management policy and efficient use of available resources. In 12th 5-year plan, for a long time, there has been a feeling that for a country as diverse as India, centralized planning could not work beyond a point due to its one-size-fits-all approach. Therefore, the NDA National Democratic Alliance government had dissolved the Planning Commission, which was replaced by the NITI Ayog. NITI stands for National Institute for Transforming India. Thus, there was no 13 5-year plan. It is important to note that the documents of NITI Ayog have no financial role. They are only policy guide maps for the government. Now over to you, Akshita.
I am going to shed light on the journey of NITI Ayog. NITI Ayog. NITI Ayog stands for National Institution for Transforming India. It was established on Jan 1, 2015, replacing the Planning Commission 1950. The replacement seems to the present economic needs and scenario in the country. NITI Ayog neither a constitutional nor a statutory body, created by an executive resolution of the Government of India. NITI Ayog is also known as Think Tank of India. Talking about NITI Ayog. NITI Ayog stands for National Institution for Transforming India. It was established on Jan 1, 2015, replacing the Planning Commission 1950. The replacement seems to the present economic needs and scenario in the country. NITI Ayog neither a constitutional nor a statutory body by an executive resolution of the Government of India. NITI Ayog is also known as Think Tank of India. The chairperson of NITI Ayog is the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi. There are Governing Council, Regional Council, and special invitees. Governing Council consists of CM of states, CM of UTs, and the Lieutenant Governor. Regional Council formed to address specific issues, special invitees, experts, specialists. It aims to construct a strong state that will help to create dynamic and strong nation to provide strategic and technical advice to the central and state government. Objectives of NITI Ayog are focus on the technology upgradation and capacity building, and economic policy that incorporate national security interest. NITI Ayog serves as the Government of India primary platform for bringing the states together in national interest, fostering cooperative federalism. NITI Ayog is a process of
preparing 15-year vision document, keeping in a view special goals set or proposed from 15 year, a 7-year strategy document spanning 2017 to 18 to 23 to 24 to convert the longer term vision into the implementable policy. The 3-year action agenda for 2017 to 2019 to 20 has been prepared and presented to the PM at third Governing Council meeting on the April 2023. Initiative taken by NITI Ayog. Agricultural Reforms Model Land Leasing Act 2016 acknowledged the right of tenants and the interest of landowner and has established a dedicated land reform cell. Agricultural marketing reforms improvement of agribusiness throughout the country. Digital payment implementing Jan Dhan account, Bheem app for digital payment incentive scheme, DG Dhan Vyapar Yojana, Atal Innovation Mission, Atal Tinkering Labs and Atal Incubation Centers to promote Swachh Bharat Abhiyan to reduce poverty, implementing anti-poverty programs, sustainable action for transforming human capital initiative to help economically backward states and the improvement of health. The government has set up Atal Innovation Mission aim Niti Ayog with a view to strengthen the country innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem by creating institutions and programs that spur innovation in school, colleges, and entrepreneurs in general. One district, one product policy is the recent agenda of Niti Ayog governing council intends to boost export at the district level. Niti Ayog will be organizing its 8th Governing Council meeting on the theme of Viksit Bharat at the rate 2047. As we stand in the present day, Niti Ayog continues to evolve in shaping policies related to education, infrastructure, aligning them with the changing needs of dynamic society. Thank you.
Thank you, Akshita, for such an insightful information about Niti Ayog and their work. Talking about the future of 5-year plans in India, the era of traditional 5-year plans has given a way to more decentralized and flexible approach to economic planning. With the dissolution of the Planning Commission in the 2014 and the introduction of Niti Ayog, the emphasis has shifted towards long-time vision documents and medium-term strategies rather than rigid documents. These initiatives, such as Make in India and Digital India, outline broader objectives for economic growth and development over extended time frames. Moreover, there's a growing focus on evidence based policy making, data driven decision making, and outcome oriented approaches. The government increasingly evaluates the effectiveness of its policies using performance metrics and impact assessments. Furthermore, India's planning now aligns with global agendas like Sustainable Development Goals, reflecting a commitment to sustainable development and addressing contemporary challenges. This shift signals a move towards more adaptive, responsive, and globally oriented approaches to economic planning in India.